Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show, where we help you make the wisest and most profitable decisions. My name is Dr. Gleb Tsipursky. I'm the CEO of Disaster Avoidance Experts, the future of work consultancy that sponsors the Wise Decision Maker Show. And today we'll talk about why forced return to office is a profit killer. Let's talk a little bit more about it. And first, let's talk about employee engagement and disengagement. Decreasing employee engagement is bad. It really kills profits. And the opposite, increased employee engagement is good. It improves profits. So the recent McKinsey survey revealed high costs for disengagement. So a mid-sized S&P 500 company, so something like a 200, 300 S&P company, risks losing between 228 million and 355 million annually, depending on its size, because of low engagement. Over 5 years, the potential loss is over $1 billion. The impact of forced RTO mandates is pretty bad for employee engagement. So we're connecting low employee engagement to bad profits, and then forced RTO causes low employee engagement. So forced office return mandates contributes to this engagement. So Gallup survey shows that US staff engagement dropped from 36% in 2020 to 34% in 2021 and 32% in 2022, with fully remote or hybrid staff showing higher levels of engagement at 37% compared to those exclusively on-site, 29%. So that's a pretty big difference. That's 8% difference from 29 to 37%, and of course, proportionately, that's just under a third less engagement for people who are working exclusively on site. And the difference is about the same for remote capable and non-remote jobs. So it really has to do with working on site is a problem. So the core drivers of employee disengagement and engagement, according to McKinsey, include inadequate compensation, lack of meaningful work, and lack of flexibility. Now, employees fall into 6 categories according to McKinsey. With thriving stars are 4% of the workforce. They are really excelling in remote and hybrid setups. The majority, 75%, seek flexible work. They consist of people who are reliable and committed, mildly disengaged, double dippers, whereas disruptors are actively disengaged and quitters are disengaged but high performing. So, thinking about the remote work perspective and the factors that McKinsey identified, we know that fixing pay issues is, of course, inadequate compensation. That's expensive. And if people don't already believe their jobs are meaningful, convincing them that they're meaningful is pretty difficult. Whereas flexibility is much more easy to offer. That's a key differentiator in engagement. So, should we just offer remote work to everyone? Unfortunately, that's not how it works. So looking at the data, even fully flexible firms can struggle with employee engagement. So there's a survey by PromoLeaf that shows some obstacles to engagement in remote work. 68% feel less connected to coworkers, 58% believe their contributions are less visible, and again, this is for remote work. 39% feel mental health needs are not being adequately met, 47% miss informal social interactions, 42% find collaboration and brainstorming challenging, and 36% struggle to build relationships. All of these findings are because companies don't really know how to do remote work effectively. They're trying to transpose in-office methods of collaboration and innovation and brainstorming and leadership and mentoring on remote and hybrid settings. And that's a real problem. Not going to get you to a good place. So what you want to do is address these problems through creating systems that are well adapted to remote and hybrid work. So to unlock engagement in remote work needs a really multifaceted approach. For example, to acknowledge staff and increase their visibility, you can do virtual town halls, virtual employee achievements through a spotlight gallery, a newsletter that spotlights the achievement of employees wherever they happen to work. And that helps illuminate the contributions of those who feel otherwise invisible. For example, I'll talk about a client, a software development firm that saw a productivity dip among remote staff with an investigation that we ran through focus groups, finding that and surveys finding that 60% of remote workers felt their contributions were not noticed. So what we did is we introduced a digital recognition platform to highlight achievements, which led to an increase in satisfaction and productivity alike, which of course improved engagement. Now, you also want to do community building activities to help people collaborate in remote team contexts. For example, a great place to start with is a virtual community center, featuring a space for casual chats, online team building activities, and relationship building. You can do a virtual office space or something like a Slack with specific activities for collaboration and team building, or Microsoft Teams channels. So incorporate initiatives like virtual coffee chats, where people opt in to meet each other, be matched for virtual coffee chats, half an hour randomly once a week with a colleague. Shared online hobbies, so have groups would do things like playing video games or watching various television or movies with each other. Remote volunteer activities, so there are a number of volunteer activities you can do remotely together, like reaching out to seniors and helping them be less lonely. These steps can help mitigate the kind of isolation that people feel in remote work and help people collaborate more effectively. So, at the regional insurance firm that I worked with, remote staff felt isolated and disconnected, and so the company initiated some regular virtual events as a result, like online game nights, virtual coffee chats, and so on. And this helped reduce the feelings of isolation and build a stronger sense of community. And that helped substantially boost the morale of staff. Okay, what about mental health concerns? So 39% of remote employees feel their mental health needs are overlooked according to the Promo Leaf survey. So this needs to be addressed, of course. So you want to offer mental health resources like wellness programs and virtual therapy. So, as an example, a professional services firm noticed a decline in remote work performance among the staff. An investigation found that remote employees felt their mental health needs were neglected. So, working together with me, the company implemented mental health support services and wellness programs, which helped lead to improved employee well-being and increased productivity. You also want to foster collaboration in remote work. According to Promo Leaf survey, again, using those traditional systems and processes, 42% of employees say collaboration is more challenging remotely. So to foster stronger collaboration, you want to create things like a virtual ideation lab for brainstorming and teamwork, and provide collaborative tools, Trello, Asana, Teams, Slack. I can't believe how many companies still don't have one of these tools to collaborate effectively in remote settings. Conduct regular remote brainstorming sessions using virtual asynchronous brainstorming, the technique I talked about previously, and encourage open communication about personal life as well as professional activities, which helps bridge collaboration gaps posed by remote work. For example, there was a large financial services company that I worked with whose employees struggled with remote collaboration. So I provided training in remote collaboration, including introducing collaborative tools and techniques to customize these tools for remote work, which helped foster a more collaborative culture and that enhanced productivity and innovation. Okay, so here's how you address tangible barriers to employee engagement in remote settings. Now, flexibility isn't a quick fix for engagement. You need to, of course, offer flexibility, but that's just a basis. That's a 101. You also need to go to a 201. So you must address barriers like lack of recognition, a weak sense of community, poor mental health, challenges in collaboration, and this is what will help you address the engagement issues with evidence-driven methods in a flexible setting. All right, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you checked out the show and leave a review. It helps others discover the show and helps us improve the show.